This is how I got a 10 handicapper down to a 3 handicap in less than 6 months. Now the area of the game in question is the short game, anything less than a pitching wedge, so your wedges in your golf bag, and how to use them effectively. A lot of low handicap golfers will have 2 or 3 wedges that are designed to give you certain yardages from your pitching wedge below your set of irons. Now if you've only got 1 wedge, for example, so you go pitching wedge and sand wedge, you can still use an element of this idea to play better golf. Now there's 2 ways to create different yardages on the golf course, and the first way, which I'm not a fan of, is for you to get a 100-yard shot and you try and adjust yourself to get that yardage. So with my 60-degree wedge, I hit this 92 yards on average on a full swing, and I've written it on the golf club. Now it's not 85 roughly, it's not 90 roughly, it's 92. That's my average, and I've worked that out on something like a simulator, and I use that framework to map my way around the golf course. So say I've got 100 yards to the pin when I've got a 92-yard club in my hand. Is there any danger short of the pin? If there isn't any danger short of the pin, I'm going to hit my 92-yard club around about 92 yards. I'm not going to try and add any extra sauce. I'm not going to try and de-loft it or anything to get to that pin. I'm just going to accept that it goes short of the pin and play that shot. The reason I do that is because if I've got a 2-day event, for example, or I'm playing golf for the whole weekend, if I were to try and spike that club up to 100 yards, can I do it the same amount every time? Or am I in control of the shot when it's going just short of the pin? Because that could actually be a nicer putt to the hole from this side of the hole. So in this scenario, I'd stand here with 100 yards, I'd hit my 92-yard shot, and I would just try and accept the outcome. 94 yards carry. Just to the front of that green, I've got an uphill putt going to the hole from there. And at one point or another, I'm going to get a yardage that might be 95 or it might be 90, and I'm going to be closer with this club, but I've given myself a chance to repeat something that at some point will be absolutely perfect. Now, if I want to hit a reduced shot, so a shot that doesn't go as far as a full swing, I would suggest starting with 1 shot in your bag from your technique that creates a shorter shot. But we want it to be a technique that you can repeat and find again. My favorite one is where I put my heels together, and then when I swing back, I can't swing back that far. I've got a limitation in the body from having my feet together. So I'm going to call that a biting point. So I've got my heels together, I get to that biting point and I swing through. That's going to throw the ball towards the target, and it's going to give me a rough yardage. So heels together, limited, through the ball, I'm going to get a certain yardage from there that's less than full. That's carried 81 yards. My average is 75 yards, so I'm going to be in and around that area. So again, say I had 75 yards to the pin, I'm going to average 75 yards with this, so I'm going to put my heel together, I'm going to play that shot, it's going to be there or thereabouts. I've got a go-to process that I can repeat. So within that parameter, I've got my 60-degree wedge that's given me 2 yardages from 2 different swings, but I've got 3 wedges. So if I grab my 52 and I do the same thing, I do a full swing, I see how far it goes. That gives me a certain yardage, so that's 115. And as it happens, I've got 115 written on the club. Lovely. So the more shots you hit, the more of an idea of your average that you'll get and build up. Over the course of 6 months, your averages might change, but you just need to keep tuning in to see if they're getting longer, if they're getting shorter. When I lose weight, I hit the ball further. When I eat too many biscuits, I tend to lose a bit of yardage. So if I've got an important competition coming up, I will literally spend a whole week just seeing what my average yardages are with each wedge, with each partial swing, and then I'll go up my bag and start to see how far each of those go. But the main thing I'm looking for is my wedges, because off the tee I want to throw the ball in the area of the wedges, so I've got the yardages kind of covered within 10 yards or so of the pin. And if I do the same thing where I put my heels together, but it's a different club, it's a 52, I hit a biting point on my backswing and I can't get through the ball with as much pace. That has gone 107 yards. The number I've got written here is 101, so I've spiked up a little bit more. And I find that with the partial shot, I do have a slightly bigger spread, so I would much rather have a full swing in an ideal world. But I start with a technique, I put that technique through the ball, I see how far it gets thrown, and I write it down, and I use that framework on the golf course with a bit of strategy. But I basically come out with something that looks like this. So I've got a full shot and I've got my feet shot, I've got a full shot and I've got my feet shot, and I've got a full shot and I've got my feet shot. And when you're under pressure, and this is something that you've drilled in a lot and you've hit a lot of golf balls to determine what these numbers are, I would rather have that shot under pressure than I would guessing the yardage or guessing how much to adjust to the shot, because I want to give myself the most chance to hit a lowest score possible.